Welcome to the 2025 Dialogue, a masterclass series by the HR Association of India. I am Neha Jagnani, and today's conversation centers on a leader who beautifully integrates people, planet, and purpose into every layer of business. It's a true honor to welcome Dr. Nirav Mandir. He's the Chief Human Capital and Sustainability Officer at Shree Ramkrishna Exports Private Limited SRK, one of the world's largest diamond and jewelry manufacturing conglomerates. Dr. Nirav leads a diverse portfolio at SRK, spanning global HR, IR, sustainability, ESG, HSC, CSR, and compliance. With over 20 years of cross functional expertise, he has helped SRK maintain sub 1% attrition rate and has led the creation of LEED Platinum certified facilities ranked among the world top 6. Academically, he holds a postdoctoral fellowship from South Korea, a PhD from the US, and a certification in HR analytics, ESG, and innovation from top institutions like Harvard and IIM Ahmedabad. He's actively involved in several global and national boards, including the World Diamond Council and CII's Future Skill Task Force, making him a rare blend of practitioner, policy advocate, and people champion. Dr. Nirav, thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure having you.
Same here. Thank you very much, Neha, for the wonderful invite and looking forward to have a very insightful and erudite discussion. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, to begin with, Dr. Nirav, my first question to you is many organizations struggle to measure inclusion. So, I want to know, how do you evaluate inclusion in action at SRK without reducing it to a number game?
Yeah, that's very pertinent question, Neha. And I think most of the organization they are struggling when they talk about the DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion at the work practice. So at SRK, what we believe is like rather than just getting into the number game, what we how to foresee the inclusion part is how we evaluating the inclusion without reducing it to a mere numbers, but we give more thought, and it's like a multi-dimensional approach to combines both qualitative and quantitative insight. Because the moment we try to stick to the numbers only, we are only concerned about the quantitative insight, then we lose upon somewhere in the qualitative aspect of it. So it's a perfect blend of qualitative and quantitative insight which we are getting as a markers from the employment practices, and that's how we try to measure the perfect blend of such practices at SRK. So I'll touch upon a couple of points how we are looking at. And when we are talking about the inclusion part, it's more about how you are trying to listen deeply as far as your experience from the employee feedback is concerned. Because generally, I think that is something which most of the organization try to flung upon. They are not taking the desired feedback, or rather they are not taking feedback so seriously while imparting their employment practices within the respective organization. And that's where the cliche happen, and that we are trying to avoid by having some of the robust the supply chain practices, and of course the conversation and the feedback mechanism which we are working with at SRK. So whether through it's like might be through anonymous surveys or might be in the form of the small group conversation, but we literally intend to get the best voice from the employee side, and that's how we encourage our individuals, especially the internal stakeholders, to share their stories, their not only good stories, but even if they are feeling any kind of anxiousness, any kind of challenges as the respective function, so they are also welcome to share the respective piece of it to their line managers, to their peers, and in the subgroups which we are defined for. The second thing, Nia, would I like to talk about is how we observe the behaviors into the day-to-day practices. That is something which is we are quite uh, profoundly working within the SRK ecosystem. That until unless you don't observe the micro level nuances of the employee behavior, you won't be able to get the exact crux where the organization is heading to. Uh, and then if I were to give some example that how we are doing it, so the presence of the leadership, it's not like that all the CXOs are sitting in their own cabin and they are not visiting the plant, they are not visiting the shop floor, they are not visiting and meeting the line managers and the managers and the respective hierarchy at the respective functions. So the way they are doing it, they quite on often organize a visit to have a very elected conversation with the respective function hierarchies, and that's how they try to create the pulse, what is exactly happening at the shop floor. So team interaction is something which we are doing at very minute level. As far as the taking of the feedback, the moment anyone is sharing their feedback into the whether it we provide them the option that whether to share the feedback verbally, or even they are also welcome to share the feedback in written note to their seniors or their line manager. So whatever way they are comfortable it, we don't force them to share the feedback in the respective manner, but the moment they share it, the entire ecosystem starts from there. And that is how we are building the strong team spirit and the mutual support, and I would say the culture of care to the respective hierarchy. The third thing which I would like to ponder upon is the embed inclusion in cultures and rituals. So the small gatherings, small the festives and the festival incidents which you are overseeing at SRK, I think this kind of a scenario is giving the ultimate bonding as far as the inclusion of the respective workforce into the ecosystem. And the fourth part, which I'd like to talk about, is more about how we are measuring the impact. It's not merely only about the metrics part, but how the equity in growth opportunities which we are providing to our employees, and how we are extending the responsible practices, and then we make them aware that what company is doing, what are the things which company is exploring in the given functions, and how you are welcome to contribute your bit to the respective hierarchy and the respective portfolio. And the last thing which pertaining to this question, I would like to talk about how we are doing how they are actually recognizing and responding to the entire ecosystem. So starting from the feedback to closing the action loop, SRK believes that listening alone is not enough. For example, several workers express. I just want to share one example. We were having an in-house canteen, and when most of the employees are having their lunch, and you'd be glad to appreciate the lunch is also not part of CTC. So it's over and above CTC. We don't charge for food. It's completely pro bono. And even by extending that extra gesture to the employees, by making them feel that we are actually not only doing a lip service by saying that we are having the culture of care, but we are actually executing it at the ground level. So we received the feedback that at certain time period, it's also the canteen is quite busy, and if we may try to redefine the time slot, because you can imagine an ecosystem where 600 people are having the lunch in the same canteen at the same time, and in the same building we are having the provision of the food for more than 4,000 employees. So you can imagine the time management, the micro level integrities are involved into the entire function. So based on a small feedback, we literally had to rework on the timing part, and of course we finally be able to nail down the entire proposition and address the challenge of the respect. So it's a very minute example on which I wanted to touch upon, but these are some of the aspects with which we are not only just saying that we are providing the culture of diversity, equity, and inclusion, but it's more about doing the practices on the ground level, and that is something I just wanted to touch upon, Nia.
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Nirav. It's a very comprehensive answer, I would say. To summarize, it starts with listening deeply. Then you mentioned about observing the behavior, of your workforce, how they are responding. If they have any anxiety, they should be able to walk up to their managers or people around them without having that fear of being judged. Then there is
Right.
feedback mechanism. The gatherings play a critical role as well. Last but not the least, to provide people with the growth opportunities, it also becomes very crucial. That gives them a sense of belonging. So thank you so much, and also of course ending with a beautiful example. Little gestures and the things we do for workforce, they actually make a real difference when it comes to inclusion. So thank you so much. So
Yeah.
moving on, Dr. Nirav, my next question is, how do you ensure inclusion is not just an HR's agenda and make sure that it is a shared responsibility between leadership, HR, operations, and sustainability functions at SRK?
See, again, it's very pertinent question, Neha. Inclusion, of course, is not the only agenda of the HR as a function. Because I keep on having the faith, and I do have all the reasons to believe that irrespective of any HR personnel or the HR department is having any kind of competencies or state of the art competencies, they are having state of the art passion, and they are literally working hard enough to bring the transformation into the organization by having the inclusive practices pertaining to the HR function. But till the time your leadership is not being supportive, till the time your top management is not having the buy-in to accept that kind of a scenario what you are bringing to the table, and if that is not happening, then unfortunately most of the organization they won't be able to bring that particular change within the organization. Luckily, SRK is the blessed with the very profound and a very proactive and progressive leadership, because I still remember, and if I were to give the examples of the James and Jewelry sector, so the James and Jewelry sector, since long, it has not been considered as a very robustly organized sector. But over a period of time, and if I share my own journey of 2 decades at SRK, I've seen the entire transformation happening from where the practices, how it got enhanced in the due course of time. And that is something SRK is being leveraging not only by setting the benchmark of the for the entire industry, but also making the industry aware that okay, what are the long term and short term benefits if you are having such kind of a minute level transformative practices and progressive practices. But as again, I'll reiterate on the fact that for that you have to have a buy-in from your leadership, and your leadership has to be have that the progressive mindset. But again, to do so, until unless HR professionals are not working along with the numbers, they are not working along with the business case, the way they are presenting to their board, I don't think they'll be able to have that buy-in till the time they do so. And that's where I think we HR practitioners are lacking on numbers. So if we start playing with the numbers, when I'm saying playing in a positive form, how we are building the business case, because if the moment okay, board asks for the details from any CFO presents the entire business case along with the numbers. What are your profit margins? What is your EBITDA? What are your profit and loss accounts, and how debt to equity ratio? So there are a number of numerical inclusions are there. So I think we being HR practitioner, we have to learn the art of numbers. And I think this is something which most of the HR practitioners are lacking in the initial phase of their career. They are not being able to convert this subjective the markers into the tangible format, and they are bringing they are bringing and creating that business case to the leadership. I think if we are being able to do that, I don't think any board which is progressive enough in the interest of the organization would let not let the things happen. So this is very critical, and we being the HR practitioners and the custodians of the human resources function, it's our responsibility to drive the entire agenda. If I were to share some of the things, even in that how we are doing a cross-functional ownership. So, if I were to share that, if we are thinking that okay, HR department is working their own silos, and we are not being able to cope up with the respective line managers, or the if you're working in a manufacturing, you're not being able to cope up the relation with your plant head and the respective line managers, the assembly line managers, and you are literally working in your own silos, I think that is not bringing any kind of inclusion to the table. Because now gone are the days that the respective functionary, just to get their benchmark into their the board's eye, they are working in their own ecosystem. It's not working anywhere. And then I think it is again the responsibility of the HR practitioners to bring that cohesive and a collaborative mindset among the team members, that how they can build the team by having the partnership, because we keep on saying partnership is the new leadership. I think this model is completely being working upon since many decades, how with the collaborative ecosystem you are driving the entire agenda and making your practices more inclusive and then more kind of more proactive. So this is the thing I just wanted to share. And you also touch upon the sustainability part. So sustainability again is it's nothing new, because now of course the term ESG coined down way back in 2003 by the United Nations. But even prior to that, the sustainability and ESG practices were there pretty much there, coined down in the culture of the organization. Because I can't see that, okay, sustainability and HR are two different ball game, and it's not coinciding each other. So it's actually the other way around. Sustainability start from the HR, because until unless you don't create that buy-in within your internal stakeholder within the organization, I don't think sustainability will be able to get their bit in the very due manner, and then can be extended to the external stakeholder till the time you don't have buy-in from inside. And that's how, again, the role of HR is to bring that awareness to your internal stakeholders, that how they are also being the contributors of the ESG and sustainability, rather than it's only lying with the finance function or just being a legislative function over a period of time. And there are numerous examples. When we started our green building journey, and we wanted to spread the awareness that what exactly the green building certification is all about, what are the carbon neutrality, what are the different the mindset and the geopolitical scenario, how the countries are moving towards and making the organization more greener, and starting from the Paris climate agreement till the mandate from India to be the net zero by 2070. So I'll go into detail in the due course of time, but these are something which is very proactive and progressive in nature, that you are not restricting your human resource to their respective function, but you are making them aware and enhancing their competencies in the due course of time, so that they can also be the custodians of the respective functions. That's my take on that.
Sure. Thank you so much. Very comprehensive, Dr. Nirav. And I must say, what I could gather from your answer rather is inclusion is best cultivated when the accountability is shared and not just siloed. So, beautiful examples there. Thank you so much for that. So, I'll move on to the next question, which is SRK's sub 1% attrition is almost unheard of. So what intentional practices do you put in to make sure that employees, irrespective of the background that they come in, they feel seen, heard, and valued and empowered?
A very nice question. And I think I've been asked this question on numerous forums, that it is very unique that someone is claiming that you are having the attrition ratio of almost less than 1%. And to be really precise, Neha, if we subtract the blue collar workforce, because technically we don't have a blue collar workforce, because the average salary of SRKN is 40,000 rupees, even at the worker level. But blue collar in the sense they are involved in the core manufacturing, they are involved in the cutting and polishing. And along with the attrition, something is very unique, and I would take 1 minute of the gathering to discuss that. The unique part and the most extraordinary part within the entire ecosystem is that the average education of our more than 6,000 employees is less than primary. I'm talking about the formal education. So it's less than primary. And the average salary I mentioned is almost 40K per month. Imagine any other sector if that is giving such a very related opportunities for the employment to the person who is not having formal education more than primary grade. So it's very distinct in nature, very unique in nature, and we keep on talking about skilling and employment, but this is a real-time example. If you are having the niche skills, because diamond cutting and polishing is a niche skill which one can own. If you are having that passion, then the sky is the limit. And that's how we are not only investing our majority of time in the training and development part, because we do have again our training center, which is again the first in the gems and jewelry sector good to get affiliated with Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Vikas Yojana. And the unique part about that center is anyone can join the center. If anyone wants to learn the nuances of the diamond manufacturing, they can join there. We don't ask for any kind of bond. We don't ask for any kind of agreement. So after having the 3 months completion of the course, and we only charge a token amount of 25K, where the per cost, the per employee cost of the batch is more than 1 lakh rupees, because we train them on natural diamonds. So even after investing on that, and if they don't join SRK upon completion of their training, we don't say anything. We just share good luck. If they want reference letter, we provide them, because the ultimate objective is to make them train, make them employable. It's not mandatory that they should join or they must join SRK. So that's how, from the initial stages, the the culture of care is being coined down in the entire ecosystem. So that's where the first marker, when the employee is thinking, oh, my company is investing into me. It's not like that the person start working in the respective hierarchy and then they are getting the profits and getting the performances to the company. But even before then, when they just did learn about the training, and they also appreciate that, okay, the company has started investing into me. So that's the first aspect of it. I keep on saying on a lighter note that why you are, so when somebody asks why you are having 1% or less than 1% attrition rate, so I just simply answer the question by saying that we totally make them running out of the choices. So by reason I say so, because we take care of them so much that they don't have any other option rather than working with SRK. So on a lighter note, for HR practitioners like us at SRK, the challenge is different. People don't leave the company. So that is again a different nuances to it. But this has not happened overnight. So it is the investment of the leadership, the investment of bringing that culture of care within the organization. And IIM Ahmedabad has done a fantastic case study on the quadruple bottom line approach, where they captured not only the people practices, but how we are linking our profit to people, planet, and ultimately to the purpose of the organization. And it's a very unique one. And the real-time performance of the employees, that's again very crucial. How we are managing, and the very transparent ecosystem which we have set for the employees by getting their buy-in and bringing that transparency to the table. So
Sure.
that's my um, slightly long answer into it.
No, no, I think that was great. A beautiful example, I would say. It shows how value-driven cultures eventually show up in retention, loyalty, and cultures of the organization. It's how you create that ecosystem for the people to stay, to be able to learn more because they have that sense of belonging. So thank you so much for sharing that beautifully. Moving on to my next question, Dr. Nirav, if there's one mindset shift you believe the industry urgently needs to make in order to create a truly inclusive workplace, what would that be?
Uh, so I would say that, as I mentioned earlier, the industry has evolved over a period of time. But the core belief, which it is there in the interest of the global trade and industry, especially in the gems and jewelry sector, is that one has to keep on reiterating on the fact that the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much, but are we providing enough to those who have too little. So that is the philosophy in which we can work, and not by sharing the things in abundance to those who have already fulfilled with it, but our being a custodian of the organization and being part of the CXO group, our role is to see whether the things are also reaching to the bottom of the pyramid. And that is something, until unless it doesn't reach there, and that bind won't come from there, then I don't think we are actually doing the justice to the ultimate purpose of the business. There are two examples which I'll provide, Neha. First example happened in 2008-9 when the global recession hit, and gems and jewelry sector, especially diamond manufacturing, being into the luxury segment, most of the companies, even it's sector agnostic, most of the companies have done the cost cutting. They did the firing, and almost the thousand, not only hundred, but the thousands of jobs got curtailed, even within the gems and jewelry sector. We can proudly say SRK was the only company across the gems and jewelry supply chain which did not fire a single employee. And for 6 months, in spite of having the incurring the heavy losses, because you run the operation without any income, without any sales, any revenue, and you had the losses. But the mindset of the leadership was quite set, like, oh, if we need to shut down the company, we'll do it all together. It's not like laying off the people and then you are surviving and just attracting and not, rather, I would say, retaining your profit numbers. So that was first example. The second example had when the COVID came. And being a manufacturing, we don't have pleasure to have the work from home ecosystem because it's pure manufacturing. And that's how we also set another example that for 3 months it was complete lockdown and manufacturing operations were totally shut, but we paid full salaries to the employee and not being contributed by a single thing, but we paid the full salary. So that these are some of the example that the people do have that faith in you, that whatever the company, whatever the management is saying, it's not just as a lip service, but it's they are actually adhering to it and they mean it at the core.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nirav. That's truly an honest and essential insight. I especially like the point where you said that until and unless it is impacting the bottom of the pyramid, it has no meaning
Yeah,
at all. So yes, it has to start from the top, but that
yeah,
impact is necessary. So thank you so much for that. That
yeah.
brings us to the last question, Dr. Nirav, which is you lead both people and sustainability at SRK. How do you bring together inclusion, opportunity, and climate action in a way that works for everyone?
Yeah, it's very interesting scenario. Almost a decade back, when my chairman called me and then, yeah, requested that, okay, you're to lead the sustainability function as well. So my simple answer was, I'm neither an engineer nor an architect. How I would be able to do it? He said, we do have faith in you, and our board is having faith in you, and you'll be able to handle it. And if you don't know the technicalities of it, learn it. It's very easy. And that's was a sense of faith which the board put in, and that since more than a decade I'm driving that entire function. To my mind, the moment I start learning, I start gaining the knowledge about traction in the ESG and the sustainability part. I could learn that sustainability and HR, are no two different functions. It's completely coinciding each other. It's completely resonating each other. And if we are looking the sustainability and the HR as two different function, it's totally a myth, because both functions are actually not only resonating each other, but they are complementing in a manner that it's like if we are doing something good, it has to start from home. So if you are concerned about sustainability or the robust governance practices, until unless you are not practicing it at your own organization, I don't think that you'll be able to set the benchmark for the other industry player or your peers within the industry. So these two things, and of course, as you rightly mentioned in the beginning, both manufacturing facilities of SRK are not only, again, it's a proud moment for India, because both manufacturing facilities are not only net zero energy buildings, but they are among the top five green buildings of the world. USGBC might have certified more than 1.5 million projects in 185 countries. And out of those 185 countries, it's again a proud moment for India that we are sustaining our position in top five since more than 4 years. And that was just a beginning. When we hit the net zero target last year for the energy part for both manufacturing facilities, it is again a proud moment that India as a country, our target is to go net zero by 2070. So almost 46 years before the India timeline, we could attain that benchmark. And that again, first, not only the James and jewelry sector, but being a privately held company, it was across all the sector, we are the first company in India to hit the net zero mark, and the journey is still on. So
Sure.
that is something which we are progressing further in the due course of time. And of course, we'll share other details if the time decides for any future engagements. Thank you
Sure.
very much.
Sure, Dr. Nirav, that's such a great milestone, and I'm sure with the approach that has been there, it's going to achieve many more such milestones in the future. All the best to the team, and it's a wonderful insight that you shared. So this brings us to the end of this masterclass, Dr. Nirav. Your insights
Yep.
on culture, leadership, empathy, sustainability gave us some really great perspectives to think about, and I'm sure our listeners are going to greatly benefit. So thank you so much for your time and insights to this session.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me, Neha, and thanks to HRI that I could share my inputs in the given topic. Looking forward to have more and more dialogues in future. Thank you very
No,
much.
thanks a lot. I'll just have a
Yeah.
quick note to our listeners, Dr. Nirav. Thank you so much for tuning into this masterclass. If you enjoyed today's conversation, do not forget to subscribe and leave a review. Until we meet next time, stay curious, stay inclusive, and keep building with purpose. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Nirav.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.